Track 14. Causes of air pollution. Paragraph 1. Burning of fossil fuels. Sulfur dioxide emitted from the combustion of fossil fuels like coal, petroleum, and other factory combustibles is one of the major causes of air pollution. Pollution emitting from vehicles including trucks, jeeps, cars, trains, and airplanes cause immense amounts of pollution. Paragraph 2. Agricultural activities. Ammonia is a very common byproduct from agricultural-related activities and is one of the most hazardous gases in the atmosphere. The use of insecticides, pesticides, and fertilizers in agricultural activities has grown quite a lot. They emit harmful chemicals into the air and can also cause water pollution. Paragraph 3. Exhaust from factories and industries. Manufacturing industries release large amounts of carbon monoxide, hydrocarbons, organic compounds, and chemicals into the air, thereby depleting the quality of air. Paragraph 4. Mining operations. Mining is a process wherein minerals below the earth are extracted using large equipment. During the process, dust and chemicals are released into the air, causing massive air pollution. Paragraph 5. Indoor air pollution. Household cleaning products, painting supplies, emit toxic chemicals in the air and cause air pollution. Track 15. Solution to air pollution. Most people agree that to curb global warming, a variety of measures need to be taken. On a personal level, driving and flying less, recycling, and conservation reduces a person's carbon footprint, the amount of carbon dioxide a person is responsible for putting into the atmosphere. On a larger scale, governments are taking measures to limit emissions of carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases. The Paris Agreement, a voluntary agreement among 118 nations ratified on November 4, 2016, is one effort being enacted on a global scale to combat climate change. As a part of the agreement, each country agreed to take measures to combat climate change, with the ultimate goal of keeping the post-industrial global temperature rise below 2 degrees Celsius. Another method is to put taxes on carbon emissions or higher taxes on gasoline, so that individuals and companies will have greater incentives to conserve energy and pollute less. Track 16. 6 tips to self-study English effectively. 1. Listen to music and learn from lyrics. Everyone likes music. It's very easy and interesting to learn English by listening to your favorite songs. 2. Watch English videos about your interests. This is good training for your English comprehension and communication. Watching interviews and reviews will help you become familiar with conversational English, how you should communicate with other people. 3. Watch English movies and TV shows. Watching English movies and TV shows also helps improve how you speak and understand the language. 4. Test your grammar with online English quizzes. When you self-study, one possible problem is that you might miss the mistakes and errors you're making. One easy way to test yourself is to do free online English quizzes. These quizzes will test your grammar, sentence construction, comprehension, and a whole lot more. 5. Chat with friends online. Chatting with friends online is a fun way to self-study English without even realizing it. It's different from talking to a teacher or studying in class, or even using English at work, because it's relaxed and the language is easy. 6. Read e-books, articles, and online magazines. Reading is as important as listening when learning English. Reading and listening both sharpen the mind and train you to think in English too. Track 17. Approximately 330 to 360 million people speak English as their first language. The United States has the most native speakers at 258 million. Additionally, there are 62 million native English speakers in the United Kingdom, 32 million in Canada, 20 million in Australia, and 3.8 million in New Zealand. Other countries also use English as their primary and official languages. English is the third largest language by number of native speakers, after Mandarin and Spanish. Estimates that include second language speakers vary greatly, from 470 million to more than 1 billion. David Crystal calculates that non-native speakers as of 2003 outnumbered native speakers by a ratio of 3 to 1. When combining native and non-native speakers, English is the second most widely spoken language worldwide. India has the largest number of second language speakers of English. Mr. Crystal claims that, combining native and non-native speakers, India has more people who speak or understand English than any other country in the world. Track 18. Mr. Huynh Van Loy from Can Tho, Vietnam, a farmer who spent most his life in the same small Mekong Delta district, has experienced good weather and bad, droughts and floods. But this year brought something he'd never seen. "The water is salty," he said. "I've been living here since my childhood, but this is the first time we've had salty water. All my crops were destroyed." The region's worst drought in 90 years, combined with rising sea levels and rampant development, are causing a crisis in the Mekong Delta, known as Vietnam's Rice Bowl. The delta is home to 20 million people and accounts for more than half of Vietnam's rice and fruit production, 90% of its rice exports, and 60% of fishery exports. A United Nations report released in March about the drought estimated that about 393,000 acres of rice in Vietnam was already lost, with an additional 1.2 million acres likely to be damaged. Almost 1 million people lack water for daily consumption. The figures are alarming but could grow worse if weather extremes become more common in years to come. Track 19. Flood. A flood is land covered by water that is not usually covered by water. This means that any time a river, lake, or other body of water overflows its banks, it's technically flooding. However, most people think of the more catastrophic types of floods, as those are the type that cause widespread damage and loss of life. Unless a flood causes some kind of financial damage or loss of life to humans or livestock, it's not considered a significant flood. Because so much of the damage inflicted by floods has long-lasting consequences, floods are among the most catastrophic of natural disasters. Floods often result in loss of life and cause emotional trauma for those who have gone through them. Even if people have not been directly affected by the loss of life, losing property, houses, or land can cause physiological damage, especially if the people affected are unable to rebuild due to the houses being too badly damaged, farmland being inundated with salt water, or lack of resources to rebuild. Many find the recovery to be more than just physical. Track 20. Advantages of face-to-face communication. With technology continuing to evolve, the different ways to communicate are endless. The telephone, email, mobile phone, Skype, and social media are integral to work life today. Yet despite this, I believe that face-to-face is the best way to communicate. Advantage 1. Body language. An authority on body language, James Borg, says that human communication consists of 93% body language and paralinguistic cues, while only 7% consists of words. Body language speaks a lot louder than words. You can gain a better understanding of how a candidate or client is feeling than you would otherwise be able to through other forms of communication. Advantage 2. Value. For many companies, travel and meeting budgets were the first to get cut back when the recession hit, but traveling to meet a client or candidate shows them that they're worth your time and money and vice versa. The more face-to-face communication you can have, the better. You'll have their attention 100%, and your message is guaranteed to be heard. Advantage 3. Building relationships. In a survey by Forbes that spoke to 760 business executives, 84% preferred face-to-face communication. Out of those, 85% said their reason was that it builds stronger, more meaningful business relationships. Respondents of the survey also said face-to-face meetings are best for persuasion, 91%, leadership, 87%, and engagement, 86%. Track 21. Driverless cars. Have you ever seen a car without a driver? It sounds crazy, but these computer-driven driverless cars will soon be filling roads near you. Companies like Google and Tesla have been designing and testing these cars, and the technology is there. They just need to see if their value for money, work out insurance issues, and run final tests to check that they can run alongside human-driven cars on the road. So how do they work? The cars have sensors all around which can detect other cars and obstacles in the road. Sensors on the wheels also help when parking, so the car knows how far it is from the curb or other parked cars. Road signs are read by cameras, and satellite navigation systems are used so the car knows how to get to your destination. All you have to do is type in the address. Finally, a central computer system takes in all the information it receives from the sensors and cameras and processes this to work out when to accelerate, brake, and steer. However, there are many drawbacks of driverless cars. Computers would have difficulties making ethical decisions. If a child ran into the road, would the computer choose to hit the child or swerve and potentially kill the car's passengers? Moreover, I personally find driving fun. I'd miss never being behind the wheel myself. There would also be many legal decisions to be made. Should children or drunk people be allowed in a driverless car by themselves? Or would there need to be a responsible adult with a driving license in the car at all times? Track 22. Our solar system consists of an average star we call the Sun, the planets Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. It includes the satellites of the planets, numerous comets, asteroids, and meteoroids, and the interplanetary medium. The Sun is the richest source of electromagnetic energy, mostly in the form of heat and light, in the solar system. The Sun's nearest known stellar neighbor is a red dwarf star called Proxima Centauri, at a distance of 4.3 light-years away. The whole solar system, together with the local stars visible on a clear night, orbits the center of our home galaxy, a spiral disk of 200 billion stars we call the Milky Way. The Milky Way has two small galaxies orbiting it nearby, which are visible from the southern hemisphere. They are called the Large Magellanic Cloud and the Small Magellanic Cloud. The nearest large galaxy is the Andromeda Galaxy. It is a spiral galaxy like the Milky Way, but is 4 times as massive and is 2 million light-years away. Our galaxy, one of billions of galaxies known, is traveling through intergalactic space.